idea that we're going to send in offensive equipment and have planes and tanks and trains going in with American pilots and American crews, just understand, and don't kid yourself, no matter what you all say, that's called World War III.
Don't kid a kidder, he said. President Biden defending his decision to veto a U.S. transfer of MiG fighter jets from Poland to Ukraine, claiming it would spark World War III.
This week, more than 40 GOP senators urged Biden to help facilitate the move, including our next guest.
North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer joins us now. Senator, thanks for being here. There's a legitimate debate to be had here, absent whispering into the microphone, whether or not a move like this is decisive enough, considering the risk that it poses of escalating with Vladimir Putin and causing further U.S. involvement.
No, Pete, thanks for the opportunity. And there's no question, there is risk. War has risks. Doing nothing has almost no risk. It just has a certainty of innocent people being killed. So, yeah, we're leaders of the free world. We have some responsibility. We have a specific responsibility in Ukraine as it relates to this situation, given the Budapest Memorandum. And this is something that I think a lot of the people in the current discussion aren't understanding, and that is our obligation under a 1994 memorandum. All of that said, though, Pete, one of the challenges here is that President Biden, remember, in that statement you just played, he leapt from providing, lethal weapons to crews and American military. We're not suggesting military men and women engage. We're talking about the right to defend yourself with weapons that are at least commensurate with the attack that's coming on them.
Senator, what am I supposed to take from the idea that the president has managed to create this cohesive NATO coalition that's together on everything, and yet this idea of the MiG transfer seems to have been sunk by, I don't know, a random EU diplomat, or Poland even took the lead? Yeah. It seemed to be that the United States was chasing the initiation on this entire deal every step of the way.
So, Will, the United States, unfortunately, has been chasing the entire time. Remember, even Nord Stream 2. Remember, many of us were suggesting or urging the president to preempt this invasion by putting harsh sanctions on before the attack. He kept saying, no, we'll wait, and when they attack, we'll put the sanctions on. When they attack, we'll ban their oil. And at every step of the way, he's been a step behind. Now, you just gave credit to him for the cohesion of the alliance. Listen, the two presidents that deserve the most credit for unifying the West are Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. And the latter, most recently, has been spectacular in unifying people against Vladimir Putin.
Senator, I want to move to another topic because the omnibus bill now heads to President Biden's desk ahead of the government shutdown deadline. This after the Senate passed $1.5 trillion of spending bill that includes $13.6 billion in aid for Ukraine. It also includes a lot of ways. Pete here broke it all down for us earlier in the show. And I think it might have been the most depressing part of our show to see that we couldn't get aid for Ukraine without senators voting, also Republican senators, voting for climate change and all kinds of wasteful spending.
Yeah, no, it's a really important point, Rachel, and you've been around Congress long enough to see the deterioration of the process, the appropriate process of committee work, of debate, of appropriations in 12 tranches rather than one giant one. I mean, we're in the 7th month of the fiscal year that we just funded. That means we're less than half a year from the next fiscal year needing to be funded, and they haven't even started that process. So that's the problem is there's a lack of transparency, a lack of due diligence when you have just the leaders of the two political parties and the two chambers negotiating these giant omnibus spending bills, and I feel for my colleagues who voted for it. I voted against it, even though there are a lot of things in it that I like. I just thought on balance and between the process and things in it, I voted no, and that was a tough vote. I don't mind telling you, I don't like to be that person. But we've got to bring fiscal discipline back. And you remember the House, before they sent the bill over, did separate at least the defense side of it from the other domestic spending side of it. They then put it together and sent it over to the Senate. So we did not have that opportunity. And that's just unfair to every member and to every person that represents them. So I think it's a process issue as much as it is what's in the bill issue.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that there's no chance you or your staff would have had an opportunity to read the entirety of what's in it. You got to pass it so you can find out what's in it. I mean, they said it, and that's what they do. One more topic for you, Senator. Joe Biden continues to dismiss the idea that his killing of the Keystone XL pipeline had anything to do with the gas prices we're seeing right now. Here's a portion of what Joe Biden said.
The Republicans saying it's Biden's gas pipeline. Biden said he's going to stop the Keystone pipeline, and I did. And that's the reason prices went up. Folks, let's get something straight here. The Keystone pipeline was 2 years away and had been 2% finished. Give me a break. Give me a break.
It's hard to listen to. So even he went to war with the fossil fuel industry, and now he's saying it had nothing to do with him.
Remember, the Keystone Pipeline, the XL pipeline, was first stopped when he was the vice president. Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, who was responsible for suggesting or giving advice to President Obama on the presidential permit in the first place. And this entire thing, the Keystone XL pipeline, is a symbol of the broader problem. He sends the wrong messages every single day to the fossil industry. And remember, nobody in the world does energy development better than the United States of America. Nobody does it better than North Dakota, and we can have a very long conversation on the solutions if we'll just all get together and talk about it.
Yeah. Sort of missing that guy that called it beautiful coal at this point.
That's exactly right.
All right. Thank you, Senator. So great having you.
Thank you, Senator.